They got traffic control.
All right, it is 10 o'clock and we will try to conduct today's administrative meeting and set an agenda for Monday for our regular meeting. Glad those of you that are here today. Couple of announcements or things we just want to mention. I know there was a lot going on yesterday. We were all pulled in several different directions, but a lot of good things going on in the community. I know Sarcoa had their, I'll think of it in a minute, Older Americans Day. Thank you. I'll get there. I should know that, the Older American these days. Yesterday it was very, very successful. Lots of folks out at the Peanut Festival and had a good time. And Sarcoa for that and all the other good things they do. Also commend the town of Ashford for ribbon cutting or groundbreaking yesterday for the new fire department. Brad Kimbrough and all the crew in Ashford are doing a great job helping that community grow, and we're glad to be part of that. Chamber held a breakfast this morning commemorating, that's not the right word, congratulating and thanking our legislative delegation for the good work they continue to do. Well attended, had commissioners in both city and county from city of Dothan and our four surrounding partner counties around the region, and thank our legislative delegation for the good work they continue to do for us. This morning it was well attended, and appreciate the chamber doing that and continuing the outstanding work that they do. We have, I think the last meeting we did proclamation for Small Business Week that is coming up, and encourage everyone that, that's next week, I believe. I think that's right, next week. We need to, I don't know, Jackie, if we've gotten access to the small business luncheon, but we need to, those of the commissions need to go, need to get to Jackie at the chamber and make plans to attend that. This coming weekend, I know the Blaine Hardy Barfield Foundation is having their annual event at the plant to raise funds for suicide prevention, and that one is near and dear to my heart. I encourage everyone that will be in town to get out and support that event. You know, Justin that used to work with us and is the Geneva County engineer. That is in honor of his past life, and do a great job of raising funds. And some family members that are involved in that also. So I encourage everyone to support that event. And lastly, I did want to mention that we understand that the bid has been awarded on the circle. I think they're planning to start that in the fall. Some of you engineering types may, is that right? Is that what you're hearing?
I think that's right, yes.
Yeah, and that's on phase 3, which will be from Cherokee, Cherokee to, no, Choctaw to Cherokee, same thing. And it's going to be fun. And probably the last couple of years, I think it's done. So, poor old Chick-fil-A, poor old Sam's, poor old everything else along in there are just going to be poor old, and we're going. But growth is good. And as the mayor says, we love our orange barrels. Good, belly full of them. Other announcements from the commission before we move into the agenda.
Just wanted to mention same thing, great news all around. I saw where Ben Parrish is back on patrol, so he's in a bad spot. Mr. Henry, I know more about that than all of us. Whether you want to say anything or not, but I saw that in the news. we'll congratulate him and his fiance.
Good. Other announcements?
I just have a comment.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I certainly would much appreciate what Aldott and Troy, the state from Troy and Wiregrass Construction did a fantastic job on the circle, widening those lanes and improving that section. It certainly did a great job, and it looks good and drives good.
Let's get them to do that real quick on the rest.
Yeah.
It is better, certainly is right there at 84 particularly. Other comment or announcements? All right, then we will move right into the agenda. We have two proclamations for you to consider for the agenda. The first is that of Mental Health Awareness Month. Ms. Susie Kingry with Spectra Care will be here for that, to receive that proclamation, should you decide to put it on the agenda and approve it. And the second one is Foster Care Month. Corey Nelson with the Houston County Department of Human Resources will be here to receive that proclamation. Is there any objection to adding those two items?
No objection.
Okay. On the regular agenda, the first item is a request to appoint Robert Hughes to fill an unexpired term on the Houston County Port Authority. So we put the mayor of Columbia to fill an unexpired term at our last meeting.
Yes, sir.
The mayor of Columbia typically has whoever that might be, typically has a seat on there to fill the term of Mr. Freeman, who resigned for health reasons. And then this one is for the former mayor, Rhonda, who is also resigning for health reasons. So this will get the Port Authority back up to their full complement. Any questions or any objections to adding that to the agenda?
No objection.
Okay, item number 2 is request to adopt a resolution for municipal water pollution prevention program. This has to do, Peter, you want to make any comments about this, or you want me to say? This has to do with our wastewater treatment facility down at the distribution park. I believe this is an annual thing that we have to do to keep ADM as happy as you can keep ADM. Did I say that correctly? Mr. Richards sends this to us at a timely time, and that is what this is. Any questions for this that I can't answer? Any objections to adding this to the agenda? Okay. Item number 3 is a request from the town of Gordon to assist with an audit that they are needing. We're honored today to have the mayor of Gordon, Mr. Charles Dismute. If you will come forward, the letter that we have from the mayor is states that they are requesting a proper financial audit to be done on their financial records from the years 2017 to 2021. And the cost of that audit is $20,000, and to do the proper audit according to the letter. And they are asking us to fund or help fund that. And Mayor, I will just turn it over to you and let you explain your request, and then let the commission ask you any questions they may have and determine whether we move this forward or what we do with it. So, Mayor?
Well, good morning, Chairman.
Let me get you to pull that mask off, if you will, so we can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. This is in a different category of things that have happened in the town of Gordon. Y'all have probably seen it all on the news and stuff. At this point now, we are beginning to get garnished from the state of Alabama, and IRS has kicked in now. The bills that were not paid, and we just, we had some money, but we're having to make all these arrangements to them and all of our other bills. So town of Gordon has been kind of stressed, but they don't have any much revenue down there. And so, that's our request, that you would help us with that. There was cases that, one case is not going to be pushed forward from the Attorney General's office about these people that are bonded because that person had permission from the mayor pro tem. So I got a call about that, and I'm very careful not to mention names on that for good name and character. So I have the supporting paperwork that I have passed on to you, Chairman, that the commissioners could review. We could go over it all, but it's a ton. I don't know how much time you want me to stand up here, but I'll just give the floor to the commissioners if anybody wants to ask any questions about it. That we got IRS from, it looks like 16 all the way to 20 that we're gonna have to make arrangements with IRS. State of Alabama is already gonna shoot us already $8,000 out of our operating account. So that has took a bad hit on board also. So I got everything from Alabama crime victims to our administrative courts. Those bills are gonna have to be paid for us, by us, So I'm here requesting that audit. Get these things, our books need to be done anyway. It's a requirement of the state of Alabama that we do this yearly, at least get a compilation. But these things were never done on the past administration. We have worked hard to try to make this thing go. We've done everything we could do and flip it around and juggle it. That's the reason why we're here, actually, for help. Any questions? Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner Harvey.
I just speak on behalf of Mayor Disney's, his good, stable, good leadership. He always going. I've had several meetings with him. It seemed like more than a few, and I've tried to point him in the right direction more than a few times. And we have hit a lot of stumbling blocks. One of those stumbling blocks why they cannot get funds, as you know, they will have to have an audit. They will have to have an audit. And 2000, you correct me wrong, I think it's 17. It's when the leadership went south. Am I correct?
That's correct, sir.
17. Before that time, you guys had a working capital of about over $200,000 in the bank.
We did.
Okay. I remember coming down there and trying to rectify the situation. It was total chaos. Just me trying to help. But I will say, and like you say, just for the sake of good name and character, can't call all the names of people that were involved, but it was not under his leadership. All that money was misused, misappropriated. They have absolutely almost nothing to work with right now. It's just kind of rebuilding. And I know that kind of puts him in a bad situation. Every time he calls me, we're just trying to figure out the next move, but it keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Now he's got hit where I think last week he sent me a bill from the was IRS or state of Alabama one for, I think it was $8,600. And then he got another one coming up for another I think I saw it was 6,000 something. So you keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper, on top of not being able to have a workforce because you don't have an operating capital to do so. So now we just a bunch of question marks, trying to figure out the next move what to do. But in order to get any type of grant money or funding or anything, we have to have an audit first to, I guess, let those people that are going to try to help us, help them move in a forward direction. Let them see exactly what's going on paper.
Okay. You mentioned I got a couple of things, and then Commissioner. You mention one thing. I think when you first became mayor, what did I tell you? The first thing you needed to do was protect yourself.
Right.
Get an audit. And so I think you're going about that, need to get this audit done. And like Commissioner Harvey said, I think for you to get any additional funding to help offset your loss, people are going to want, entities are going to want an audit in place. So I think trying to get that audit is a good first step, not only for the town, but to protect you and the current council. Where the price you got here, is that from your people you normally get audits from, or where is that just from a firm somebody gave you, or is that from?
That's from Mr. James Whitey.
Okay.
He's,
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I mean, he does a lot of water boards and towns, and and that's the number he gave you to catch all those years up to do the type of audit that you would need for these entities.
no, sir, that's not the number that he gave me. That's the number that I had looked at from where he went from. I like to have just a little overkill, just to make sure, because we are already into 2022. And I just didn't know, we'd have to go all the way from their administration and 2021 is what I was looking at, sir. We'd like to have that to clear us, so that we could show where Gordon has went forward as far as doing the right thing.
So how much is the audit going to cost from James Whitehead from 2017 to 2021?
He did mention about 15,000.
It's around 16.2.
16.2.
Yeah, so it's good.
So that's the amount of the audit.
That was just a phone call that I had with him. So
Budget on it. Okay. All right, how much is the town, does town have y'all adopted a budget? Do you have a budget?
we have a budget that is right at this moment. We have 40,000 in the red.
Like, what's your total budget?
Total was,
Just roughly.
that budget was 52,000, something like that. Because of all the salaries.
Is that in this information you gave me?
It is, sir.
Okay.
Yes, you should
All right,
look
all
through
right,
there, sir.
I can look at that. So y'all, the town council has adopted a budget,
Yes, we have. And it's in the red, so.
but so you're not required to adopt a balanced budget?
Well, we just impossible for us to do now. And I have USDA, they have came down and they're in the red also, and they wanted us to reemphasize this loan that we have with them for $395,000. They want us to pay $1,600 a month on that. That's from Mr. Allen Bowen.
And before they do that, they probably want you to have an audit.
They would like for us to have the audit, sir.
Chicken and egg, yeah, I get it.
Yes.
All right, so you and I talked a little bit about the revenue, where you get your revenue from. Most of it comes from water.
Water and sewer, and just a little bit from that dollar store
Sales tax.
sales tax, yes.
Did you ever find out how much you have a 1 cent sales tax? Is that what it is?
As is.
All right, so I'm a little into your business, I don't mean to, but so your sales tax is, if I'm transacting in Gordon, would be 4% state, 1% county, and 1% Gordon, so it would be 6%. Y'all thought about increasing that?
We've got to increase some things, yes, we hadn't gotten around to.
I mean, I'm not for more taxes, but when you drown it, you need, you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't know how much money without looking at your budget, I don't know how much money your sales tax generates, but when you're in the situation you're in, obviously 6% is a low tax, sales tax rate. With 8, 9, and Dothan and whatnot, so I'm not just saying sales tax, I'm just saying you as the council need to look at everything y'all have got to try to figure out where you can help yourself, if that makes any sense, whether it be water rate, sales tax, whatever. There's a hole there, not of your making, but it is of your making to get out of the hole.
Yes.
So I suggest you need to look at all those revenues, figure out what you can do, even if it's a temporary thing, to get out of the hole, to catch up. Well, let me finish on it. Is there any opportunity? I'll say something I don't need to say. You tell me. Is there any opportunity to get any of those missing funds reimbursed from individuals that we think they have been taken from or by?
There is, they were bonded. We can, well, I
Don't
can't
say
call it
anything you don't
anything.
feel-
I
Don't say
can't.
anything you don't feel comfortable
I
saying.
don't
and that's why I
actually-
said, if I ask something I don't need to ask, somebody needs to tell me, so.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. The sheriff representative may be telling me I need to hush. so.
Because I don't want to see anything.
I'll say this on the mayor's behalf. We have been dealing with Gordon over the last 8 years. I bet. There's been several investigations that we looked into that was turned over to the state
Okay.
due to the fact of their ability through the AG's office to conduct the audits that were needed that we cannot provide.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, majority of all investigations as far as, because I'm gonna tell you, and Commissioner Harvey and I have spoken on several occasions, and during the investigations, it's been a mess trying to come up with anything because of record keeping or not keeping.
Yes.
But I did want to bring that
Okay.
to your attention, Chairman.
All right, I got you.
Most of everything we did, and we've made arrests on certain things over there, but has to be done with a full-fledged professional audit that Sheriff's Department cannot provide.
So, and maybe you can answer this question, the audit that the mayor is requesting of us is is a financial audit of the records and books of the town of Gordon. That's not the same audit you're talking about the Attorney General's office is conducting or was conducting.
Again, I'm not sure just where they went or didn't go with it, the Attorney General's office, because it say it was turned over to their units. But an audit for the town, and it'd be basically sort of the same thing. You have to have an audit from point A to point B, or C or D, wherever you got to go to try to determine what funds were there,
Right.
what funds are missing. And at that point, you can try to determine, and we know it's within a window.
Yeah.
And I know what the mayor inherited without going into things because of things that we have looked at.
Absolutely, and I want to be sure we all
Yes, sir.
agree, this mayor and council are doing the very best job they can possibly do under the conditions they were willing to step into, and I certainly commend you for being willing to step into the quagmire, for sure. But I'm just trying to figure out where we can or can't, or should or shouldn't play a role in getting into this. So that's why I asked about the audit. If I guess somebody needs to, maybe the mayor or somebody representing the group that you want to be involved with the AG's office and find out what type of audit they've done, because I'm just thinking, foolishly, that if somebody's done some kind of audit, there's no reason to pay for the same thing to be done.
And again, I don't know what the state has done or not. I know that we did reach out to League municipalities and they shut us down saying.
Peter?
Just a
I
point, excuse me, thank you, Mr. Chairman, just a point of clarification, and of course, I don't know any of the specifics and the details of any of all this, but I think to make a distinction, I think what the AG's office would do and what the major was talking about is a forensic accounting audit. That's entirely different than a financial statement audit, which is a gap-related accounting for all the transactions, assets, liabilities, and including a full set of footnotes describing the details of those financial statements.
Okay. All right, so we don't really need to worry about what the AG's office did based on what you just said. Okay. All right, thank you for that information. All right, the last point I will make, and then I'll turn it over to you all to determine what to do this. This is Mark, not commission, Mrs. Chairman Kohler, I'm not county commission, but I understand the predicament that you're in, that you're placed in. But I also understand us that we can figure out how to, we have funds, that we provide to the town of Gordon for some things that through various things over the years we provide. So I would say we have some concern about those funds, and because of that, I would think, maybe hope this commission would have some interest in and all. I want us to be careful in, I hate to use those words thinking in my mind, but I want us to be careful in how we do this, because you're a standalone town, just like Rehoboth and Avon and Webb and Taylor. And I want to be careful of, let me say it 1,000,000 times, I want to be careful of the precedents that we set from this podium. Because whatever we do for one will come back and, be presented to us from others. So this is a little different situation, and I pray that we don't have this situation in any other town in our lovely county come up again, ever. And like I said, we do have funds involved in this, so personally, I feel like that we can justify helping with this, whether the commission wants to totally fund this or partner with you on this audit or whatever, it's certainly up to them, but I just want to be real careful of precedent. Y'all heard, like I said, heard me say that 1,000,000 times, and I need to say it more than y'all need to hear it. So with that, I'll open it up for any comments from the commission, if anybody has any, or questions of the mayor regarding this request that is before you. Mr. Harvey, you want to go first? This is your request, basically.
Yes. Mark, I totally understand this area. You don't want to set a precedence, and I understand that every town and municipality needs to be autonomous within its own self. There's a few things on board that I know that they've been fighting for.
Can you speak up a little bit, please, sir?
Yeah, I gotta get you here today, but sometimes I say it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We paid for that, so go ahead and use
I
it, turn
understand,
it on.
I understand that. They pay them too.
Thank
Yeah. The demographic of Gordon, just in itself, is probably, if I had to guess, you correct on this, Mayor, I'm pretty close, probably 85 to 90% just fixed income. So when you talk about raising a tax base, you're really hurting them more than what it is. But I understand sometimes desperate things calls for desperate measures. Also, I know one of the things they got so bad, the county wound up picking up you guys' garbage, which is kind of revenue for us now. We're not doing that. And I also thought about another thing while we were doing this, ultimately we pay it back. That Gordon also gets the rebuild tax claim to pay the roads. We could take over that as a repayment back what we're doing for them, so we're not just giving them the money. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to look at a few things that we could do, just options. And for the Attorney General, that was not a bad idea. I mean, tell me,
What?
The rebuild tax money.
I can't speak to whether, how that money can be utilized outside of paving funds.
No. So he say paved road.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so he say paved roads.
We've done that.
Okay, yes.
It's almost like a,
I misunderstood.
Yeah,
Swap.
yeah, like a
Yeah.
swap. That's right, like a swap. I think that would just be,
Yes, we've entered into agreements with municipalities.
right,
Yes.
right.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I don't
Yeah.
know, we have roads down in Gordon.
Right, right.
That would be I'm just speaking for me, but that would be in my mind, a palatable. And we don't use the word payback, but yeah, a palatable offset, if you will. Swamp. Yeah,
And
swamp.
those audits are two different audits. Yeah, that's all I was breaking up.
All right, other comments? Yes, sir, Commissioner Shute.
And some of this information may be information that you provided. Said you were fined by the state of Alabama, you got outstanding fine or whatever for 8,000. Did I hear that correct?
I think that's the IRS, actually.
One is-
IRS.
So that's.
One is state of Alabama. They've already took that out of our account. And now the IRS is sending another one just for 2016, which is gonna roll to 17, 18, 19, and 20.
How much is that?
That's probably 48,600, looks like tentative.
48,000.
Yes, we're gonna probably have to go into an agreement with IRS. I think they will, because they're gonna have their money. So
Yeah.
we gotta go into an agreement with them, try to make that payment to them, you know.
Well, first of all, I say that I appreciate your leadership. I know you've met a couple of times. I've met some of your council members. And I think they are doing the right thing, which is good to see. I think y'all have good leadership. But at the same time, I do have to ask questions, make sure it's going to be a wise expenditure of taxpayer dollars. So outstanding bills total, if you were to add up the IRS, the state, all the other bills, you said USDA, I think I saw you said $390,000 USDA.
Yes, we're re-amortizing a loan that the town of Gordon has for the water system and the sewer system. So we're redoing that and getting a lower interest rate on that.
So when you add all those penalties, fines, loans, debt, and you add all that up, how much liabilities, what's the liabilities that you have on the balance sheet?
Well, I'll tell you what, I just got a list of it I could go over with you.
Just a guess, man.
Just a guess.
Total.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The big number.
Those big numbers.
Just
It
guess.
says 200, I'd say 230,000. If I had to put all of it in a pot,
So
kind of where we were when I left office before. We kind of in that kind of situation.
So 230 plus the USDA loan, 390 roughly. Kind of what
Right. Yeah, we gotta make some agreements and all these ones like Office Depot and Lowe's and Morris Autos, Palmer Electric. Allied Environmental even had a deal for 4,500. So that's the one that does our sewer samples, you know, they wasn't paying those bills. I'm trying to keep, without saying the wrong thing, you know, Mr. Shute. Trying to keep from, you know, because these people are all sending us bills.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
we just want to do the right thing, guys. That's all I'm asking to do is get this to where we can sort of try to make things better down there and try to keep the citizens, dignified. You know?
Next question. So your yearly, when you said, next question, your yearly budget, does that mean your yearly revenue is roughly $52,000? So you collect in taxes and fees, but roughly $52,000 a year, is that correct?
And that was a budget that we were going on as far as I was saying about what we got spending for payroll and bills and
Then you have 52, but how much did you collect?
golly, I wish I had that. I could get that for you.
I don't think they have that information.
So my other question is, let's say that we do the audit happens, the audit shows that funds were misappropriated, which I think everybody thinks that's what the audit is going to show. So when you have an audit that shows your funds have been misappropriated, that the grants and the state and the federal funds that you don't have access to now because you don't have an audit, when you have an audit that shows funds were misappropriated, are you going to then have access to the funds, or are they going to say, oh, no, your audit shows that funds were misappropriated, so we're not, or are you going to be in the same boat whether this audit happens or not, I guess is my question. And I don't know if you can answer that question, or if we need to have somebody else answer that question for us, but that's my question.
I have to say, I would say that, I think we would be able to move forward with that because we could get more funding from different entities. USDA is willing to do more for us if we can show cause, you know, and everything. That's, like I say, $395,000 will save us down the line on that loan we got with them from what we have now. So,
I may need to do a little bit more research on that. And next question, which I don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like I need to ask just to make sure. So, and I think Chairman Culver alluded to this too with the revenue. If we do this, and let's say you do have access to federal funds, it kind of unlocks that key or that door that's been locked. With your current revenue, and your current budget for your current expenses, how can we be sure that Gordon's going to have the ability to be an ongoing concern long into the future? In other words, our money will be well spent. That this is actually going to help y'all, and not only is it going to help you now, but it's going to set you on a path where 5, 10, 15 years down the road, finances are better. Can you assure that to us? This is going to be a worthwhile investment of the county's taxpayer.
I can assure you, if we keep the right people in office and all this on around with this stuff, I can assure you we'll do the right thing with the citizens' money. That's it in a nutshell. We took an oath, just like you guys did, to do what was supposed to be done, which wasn't done the last 4 years. And it was really just a shame.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up down there in the woods hunting, everything. I grew up down there and I never seen this happen before. This is gonna be this is gonna go down in history, I believe. This was the worst that's ever been, you know, with the wrong people in office.
Yeah, it should definitely be a lesson to us all.
It
Also bad
is.
leadership. But I appreciate you coming before us and giving us some of this information. I know I'm going to look at the financial data that you provided. Probably do a little bit of research. But certainly hope we're able to help you and help the town Gordon is able to be more successful going forward.
I think it will.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
I got
Yes,
a few,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mayor, I appreciate you coming forward and coming. I understand the situation you guys are in because of my full-time job, of course, and I've seen what y'all been going through down there, and I'm glad to see that y'all are making a difference, that good people are wanting to make a difference in your community. That needed to happen, and y'all stepped up, and that's what y'all are trying to do, and I see the difference in what's going on. Question I have is, if this audit is done, will this audit not help the Attorney General's office better move forward with possibly a prosecution on the forensic audit side? I know that I know that the past 4 years, it's in such a mess. It was a mess, and it was hard for anybody to follow that paper trail. And there are people out there that I know that can do that. I know Mr. Whitehead does a lot for the municipalities around here, the Water Authority for Houston County and so forth, been up for a long time. If this audit is done, will this audit give the Attorney General's office or law enforcement the ability to be able to move forward and be able to figure out where prosecution needs to happen? Because I know that there has been misappropriation of funds. I know there's been misuse of funds, has been spent where it does not need to be spent. There's been extra paychecks done that should not have been done. There's things like that. I understand. And that's what that's what I see that with it, not necessarily you're after, but it is what you're after. There needs to be some accountability for the actions of the prior administration of what they did. And they deserve, the citizens of that town deserve for there to be justice for their funds being misappropriated. So with that being said, if this audit is done, will with Attorney General's office be able to move forward possibly when this audit's done with a better audit for them to move and see where money's been misappropriated? Will they be able to move forward and possibility be able to get those funds back if someone's prosecuted and there be restitution and funds be paid back to that town?
Yes, sir. Mr. Herring, you're absolutely right on what you said. I was always trying to be careful about mentioning anybody's name or anything like that. But they are bonded, and we have insurance with Alabama, Amy, they call them. They are bonded. That's what they would need, to make a prosecution. I'll go ahead and say it, and she's already said it.
They need to
We
audit.
could recover. I just didn't want to say it, guys.
Well,
I didn't want to.
you ain't gotta say any names, but it just that, it is what it is. All
It
needs to
is
be
what
done
it is. Yes,
for it to
sir.
move forward, and I agree that there's no doubt in my mind that there's been some misappropriation and things not been done. And I take it Mr. Whitehead, and there has not been any audits done by him or anything during those prior years either. There wasn't even any done those 4 years.
They had one compilation that I can show you guys, but it wasn't audit. It doesn't show everything.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, any other comments, Commissioner
Thank
Sinfield?
you, Chairman. Thank you, Mayor Dismukes and the town council for what y'all are doing to try to correct a lot of problems. You inherited a mess. And these dollars were federal dollars, this USDA grant, you and I have talked about this a few times also, and these federal dollars, it almost makes me wonder if it shouldn't be a federal investigation from the USDA to look into this. Majority of that missing money was USDA that was asked for, I think, by grant, that they wanted to apply that money for water improvement in Gordon.
Yes.
The other thing is, I certainly believe, yes, we agree about, we know the audit is probably necessary, but for me, I think an outside firm, independent of the current CPA that you have, that has some knowledge of the things that's been going on there, I'd rather, if we do an audit, see an outside firm outside of the current CPA that you have. And this audit would just be, for the years 2017 to 2021, the missing funds that's misappropriated. I do believe you need an annual audit, and maybe that can be done by the current CPA that the town has. The other, did the town receive some of this, and Cole, you might ask, the ARPA money that you received? Do you have you received that money, Alabama Rescue Plan Act money?
We have received some from American Rescue, and there's another one that's coming through too. We've got that. We're trying to do some things
That's
with
dollars.
roads and stuff.
I didn't know if that's,
Well, actually, there are ARPA funds. I don't think they have access. I don't think you have access to that because.
that's what I'm asking you, if he could use.
And of course, well, not to interrupt, ARPA funds are for specific, you've heard us talk about it for a million times, are for specific projects. It's really not going to help them with their shortfall. But I think you have to have a budget.
There are different rules for municipalities versus counties.
Yeah.
And they are considered to be what's referred to in the law as an NEU. And it's really, those funds are administered by the state, the revenue department. And they operate under different rules regarding eligibility. And I really haven't read that chapter and verse because it doesn't pertain to the county.
Yeah.
So I can't really answer a specific question.
But either way, they don't help the shortfall, they just would be from.
No, I wasn't asking about the shortfall, I was talking about if you recover some of your other expenditures that you may have, you know, to take care of, not audits or, you know, just bills. That you have.
You know, all these past due bills, I think that we can get that audit, and like Mr. Herring was saying, if we could get somebody accountable for that and recover those funds, I'm sure the town could go well with that, you know. That's where we are. We're paying the bills. If all the bills, the past due bills, we are paying them. But we're scathing, we're having to juggle everything when I get to pay my employees. And I'll just go ahead and say it, guys. My maintenance department, you're looking at the maintenance department, right? Okay, I just wanted to say that now. I was out there on the bush hog the other day at the lagoon because ADM requires us to keep that up. I have to make sure it's done. It's my responsibility. And I'm just, you know, this is my case, you guys. If I can get that recovered, you know, I could hire my maintenance department back, you know, where they could keep the streets clean, keep that lagoon, the water tower. ADM had so many violations that we had to take care of. I don't know if any of you guys been down there lately. We had to take down that water tower. We've had to do a lot of things that ADM has been breathing on us, and you know, it's been bad as far as with ADM. So put that on the top shelf, you know, as far as my funds. I think you guys know about ADM.
Oh, yeah.
They don't.
I just made a comment about them.
Yeah. So
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah,
Commissioner Harvey?
and Mayor Davis did for Brother Charles, he's a good man. I've known him a long time before I became county commissioner. I know he's always gonna do what's right. I know every time we talk, the first thing that he says is, he said, he said, this is embarrassing. You know,
it's embarrassing.
and he always say that, and I really think about that. You think about Tom Gordon, it's never had a problem like this. It has been established since 1872. 1872. They have a population right now, which has went down, was 408 in 2021, now it's about 332 citizens. I mean, that's it. I mean, fine. They are all that they have, you know what I'm saying? They do everything they can to just trying to make ends meet. I watch them work, I watch Gwen work, I watch others work, and they're just trying to make it happen. I'm sure that we certainly don't want to set up a precedence of this, but I would think that if any town or municipality got in the same situation, they met 1872, of course, I'm sure they paid $16,000 of taxpayer money by now. You know, I'm sure of that. And I'm sure that every other municipality is worried of the same thing. I don't think we're trying to set a precedence here, but I think sometimes we have those situations, things that we just have to do. And we have to figure out how to do it and make those hard and tough decisions. But that's just my last, just my sentiment.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Mr. Harry.
Mayor,
Yes,
who was it with Attorney General's office, the investigator? What was their name?
that was Mr. Jim Murray, if I can speak on him like that.
Yeah, I just want to know. All right.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what Commissioner Harvey said. I just, you know, again, it's my job to think about those kind of things. And, you know, I've had people come up to me since all this has been going on and say, you know, why don't y'all take over the town of Gordon? That's not the county's role to take over any municipality. Y'all are an existing entity. And I've had people say, why doesn't the town of Gordon just disband and not be a town anymore? Well, very reason you just said, if you all can get out of this, but you know, it's not our role to tell you what to do, but if we can help because of the reasons we've talked about here today, then I think, you know, it would be appropriate with the audit because of funds involved, because of various things you've heard. to do that. So unless I mean, is there any objection to adding this request to assist with the audit? They're not asking that we conduct the audit. They're not asking that we hire the auditor. They're just asking that we appropriate, and the amount is $6,200 to them, for them to hire and pay for an audit. So that's what would be on the agenda for Monday. If I don't hear any objection, Mr. Harry.
I wouldn't, right now, this is something new that they're asking for. Give me a little bit of time to make a decision. I'd like to table this if we could to the next meeting if possible. So it gives me time to look at this a little bit further and do some checking. It make me feel better with the decision if I have time to make this decision. Give me a few weeks or something. If we can table this,
Until the next
to the
commission
next
meeting.
commission meeting or something. And I would like to do that, request that if that's possible. And then we can,
Well, it's certainly up to y'all, what we do regarding that. What would that do? I don't guess getting this audit started 2 weeks is gonna make any difference to you. I mean, you're gonna contract with the auditor, and I don't know if he'll start in 2 weeks or not.
Well, yes, soon as possible, but, I think, I heard you say 6,000.
You said 16,200.
You said 6.
I said 6?
You said
Oh, I'm
6.
sorry, no, I meant 16,000.
I think.
I didn't mean to give you a heart attack.
Well, yeah.
But I'm also not saying that the commission, commission's gonna approve whatever they approve, whether
Yes.
they approve a partner or pay it all or whatever. But yeah, 16,200 was the number you said, so, or somebody said.
Right.
So, for the audit, and that's what your request is, to do the audit, so yeah, that's the number. If I said 6,000, I apologize. So what am I hearing from the majority of the commission? Do y'all want
We
to
can take
put this on Monday's agenda, or put it on the admin agenda 2 weeks from today?
admin do 2 weeks from that.
All right.
The other commissioner.
Okay. You good with that?
It's been going a long time, I guess, 17, why not 2 more weeks?
All right, and we will table this item for 2 weeks from today. And get back on the agenda at that time. You probably will want to be here in case we have questions that in there. And I will make them all copies of this information between now and then. But you probably will want to be here 2 weeks from today in case they have questions that they come up with in their research. And will get us a copy of your budget if there is a document of some sort that shows revenues and expenditures. If it's not in here, I just looked at it.
It's not in there. That's mostly bills right there that we have.
Well, I think a copy of your budget showing, your revenues, where it comes from, and those kind of things would help us too. So you can email that to Miss Jackie or whatever.
Okay, guys, for here,
Mayor,
I
thank you.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You got a comment?
I do.
Okay. Not you, Mayor.
Okay.
No, you go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is George Trotter, reside at 4218 County Road 203, Dothan, Alabama 36301. I want to say the 27 years I've been in Houston County, I love Gordon, Alabama. It's probably been the most, if you want to say neglected or kind of in the woods, you might say, community in Houston County with some wonderful people. I have not been aware of what's been going on for the past 4 years, but I feel like it's an opportunity with this discussion to bring up a concern that I have and a lot of people across our county, I think a lot of people across the state of Alabama have. And we got an election coming up, and there's 2 government entities that are involved here. That is the state attorney general's office and the state auditor's office. Okay, now the state auditor's office, most people out here think that are ignorant like I am or have been, and I've gotten myself oriented, educated a little bit. The state auditor's office, basically the state of Alabama, which I think is kind of a rarity, only audits supposedly physical material like chairs and furniture and vehicles and this sort of thing. They have no authority to do and why our legislature doesn't have a law in place to where the state auditor's office has the authority. And we need to have a law, our legislators need to pass a law that, how do we get in this kind of trouble over 4 years and this not be recognized that's going on? It didn't all happen overnight, correct? It happened over a period of time in 4 years. And to me, there ought to be a quarterly, at least annual audit of every government entity in the state of Alabama or in every state. And that should be funded by the state. In other words, that people there, we have auditors there, you take the price. And the question, one of the questions I have is, do we not, as a government entity, including Gordon, we're talking about hiring auditors, $16,000, $20,000, whatever, to do this audit. Don't we take bids on those type of services? I mean, aren't we, bound by law to take bids on that rather than just say, I'm gonna have John Doe,
No, professional services.
professional services. We don't take bids on that. Probably should, don't have to. But that would be a good idea that we did that. But the point I want to make is that we've got an election coming up. And I will tell you, I've had a number of conversations with Jim Ziegler, who I think has been a really good state auditor in Alabama. This 27 years I've been here. I don't know how many years he's been auditor. But my point is this, that we've got an opportunity with this experience right here, which is bad for the people in Gordon and all of us, to get our legislature to wake up and pass some laws and put some teeth. And Jim Ziegler's told me this himself, to put some, let the state auditor's office have some teeth where they can prosecute, where they can investigate and prosecute these type things going on and get them, nip them in the bud, not 4 years after the fact. Thank you.
Just for the record, counties and cities in Alabama are required to be audited annually. The state Department of Examiners audits counties every year. We go through an audit process. Towns, cities have to hire private. The state does not do their audit. They have to hire and pay private auditors for whatever reason, but that's what the law is. But I think this audit has been done because officials didn't choose to or have the money to. So. All right, next item on the agenda is a request to donate 2004 Ford Econoline van to Eufaula Police Department SWAT team. Like to come in. I guess we have to declare anything surplus or anything to donate. This is probably out of any value anyways.
This is an old van that we took when it was put out of service for the Houston County Jail.
Yeah.
And we utilized it with our SRT team. We did some modification to it to fit our needs. We no longer need this particular vehicle because we have purchased the Bearcat. We also still have the MRAP through the 1033 program. Eufaula is in need of it with their SRT team to have a vehicle that's basically set up for their needs. And the sheriff, I presented a letter that you will have in your packet Monday that he wishes to, with the commission's okay to, for the commission to turn it over to the city of Eufaula.
Any questions or objections to add this to the agenda? Okay. All right, item number 5 is a request to award bid for reflectorized thermoplastic pavement marking material to lowest bidder meeting specs. Any questions or objections to adding that to the agenda? Okay. All right, anything else from the commission to be considered for the agenda or general comments? General comments in general. A double general. The 2-star general. Yes, sir.
County engineer Kirkland, there are roads that we've not been able get to do so many other working projects, and limited number of people that we have. I think that would be, what we could move in the next few weeks and start breaking somebody off from that, crew. How many do we normally put out to grade those roads, dirt roads? 3?
It just depends. I mean, we don't have enough people to do it. If we start blading dirt roads, I'm gonna have to stop working on paved roads. Right now. We're doing shoulder work and laying pipes and doing these projects. So to go blade dirt roads right now, I have to stop something. What we normally do when it gets too wet or something, we'll send all 6 of them out, and as it dries up, we pull them back in, and go to work. Right now, we're doing shoulder work on paved roads, doing projects, doing the asphalt parking lot. So something will have to stop to go blade dirt roads. Now, I had supervisors ride these dirt roads, and one of them that somebody said was impassable, had one wash on it across the road, it was about that deep. But it was impassable in their description to us. So I don't think they're quite as bad as it's been said.
They're probably not like they used to be back in the day, but.
Yeah.
And part of the problem is not just, you know, from the subject, we don't talk about it, but I could probably share, probably talk an hour about this, but part of the problem is not that we don't have enough people, it's that we're not hiring, able to hire enough people still, even with our, you got open slots, is what I'm trying to
Oh,
say.
we've got open slots, yes, I think we got, what, about a dozen right now.
So if any of y'all need a job, we are hiring in Houston County.
But
It just kills me, people that are out there looking for jobs, y'all can't find a man, people are hiring all over the place.
But I just
If you want a job, you can find a job somewhere.
But we will, Commissioner Springfield, as soon as possible, we'll try to get somebody out.
Right, and you know, public inquiries, and that's why I want the public to hear that.
Yes,
So this is where we are, and that makes sense.
and some of the dirt roads are worse than others, but our supervisors are riding them, and if they can get on them, and, you know, don't have to get forward, I mean, that, you know, they can get through them and just slow down a little bit here and there.
Well, I have 80 miles in my district, a dirt road, so you can imagine.
I understand, yes, sir.
All right. Appreciate you all. We will see you on Monday.